We were camping in the Appalachian Mountains in early October, when the air starts to feel heavier and the woods get quieter, the kind of quiet that doesn't feel peaceful, just empty. My friend Mark and I had planned a 4-day hike through a section of trail that doesn't see much foot traffic. No cell service, no nearby towns. Just forest, elevation changes, and long stretches where you don't see another person. We weren't inexperienced. We'd done trips like this before. We logged our route, told people where we'd be, and stuck to established trails. Nothing about the plan felt reckless. That's why what happened still doesn't make sense. The first time we saw the camp, it wasn't there. I'm certain of that. We had walked that exact stretch of trail less than 24 hours earlier. The clearing had been empty. No fire pit, no tents, no disturbed ground. Just leaves, rocks, and a fallen tree we used as a landmark when we passed through. That's why we stopped walking when we saw it. 2 tents stood in the middle of the clearing. A fire ring made from carefully stacked stones. A backpack hanging from a low branch, swaying slightly, even though there was no wind. Everything looked set up properly. Not rushed, not abandoned in a panic. Just left. Mark joked that maybe we'd somehow missed it the day before, but his voice didn't sound convincing. We both knew how unlikely that was. This trail wasn't heavily used, and the clearing wasn't hidden. You couldn't walk past it without noticing. We stepped closer. The fire pit was cold, but the ash inside was still dry and pale, not scattered or darkened by rain. Someone had been here recently. Very recently. That's when I noticed something that made my stomach tighten. There were no footprints leaving the camp. Plenty of tracks led into the clearing, boot prints, different sizes. At least 3 people. But beyond the edge of the campsite, the ground was untouched. No tracks leading away. No sign of where they'd gone. We stood there longer than we should have, listening. The forest was silent in a way that felt deliberate, like everything had paused. No birds, no insects. Not even the sound of wind moving through the trees. I called out, expecting someone to answer. No response. Inside one of the tents, I could see sleeping bags laid out neatly, unzipped and empty. In the other, there was a small notebook sitting on top of a folded jacket. I didn't want to touch anything, but curiosity won. I opened it. The pages were filled with dates, trail notes, weather observations, normal hiking stuff, until the last few entries. The handwriting changed. It became tighter, rushed. The final line stopped halfway through a sentence. Something keeps walking past the camp at night. It never comes close, but it doesn't leave. Mark told me we should go. I agreed immediately. We marked the location on our GPS and continued down the trail, trying to shake the feeling that we were being watched. After about an hour, the forest slowly came back to life. Birds, wind, normal sounds. The tension eased just enough for us to convince ourselves we'd overreacted. That night, we camped several miles away. Around 2 a.m., I woke up to the sound of footsteps. They were slow and heavy, moving just beyond the edge of our firelight, not circling like an animal. Walking back and forth in a straight line as if someone was pacing. I held my breath and listened. Mark whispered my name from the other tent. He heard it too. The footsteps never came closer, never moved away. They just continued steady and patient until they stopped all at once. In the morning, there were no tracks. We packed up quickly and decided to head back the way we came. Mark suggested we swing past the clearing again, just to check something. I didn't like the idea, but part of me needed to see it. When we reached the spot, my heart dropped. The camp was gone. No tents, no fire ring, no backpack, not even flattened grass. The clearing looked exactly the way it had the day before we first noticed. It undisturbed, empty. If it weren't for the GPS pin, I would have thought we were in the wrong place. Mark tried to laugh it off, but his hands were shaking. We turned around to leave. That's when I noticed something carved into the fallen tree we used as a landmark. It hadn't been there before. The words were shallow, uneven, like they'd been carved with something dull. You weren't here yet. We didn't hike. We ran. The trail felt longer than it should have, twisting in ways I didn't recognize. Several times I was sure we were passing the same rock formations again. My GPS lost signal, then briefly turned back on, showing our location jumping erratically across the map. Late in the afternoon, we finally reached the trailhead. A few days later, I reported what we'd found to a local ranger. He listened carefully, then asked me a question that made my chest tighten. Did you find a notebook? I told him yes. He nodded and said they'd found similar ones before. Same handwriting changes, same unfinished entries. I asked who they belonged to. He said, people who never made it back to the trail. I don't camp anymore. But sometimes, late at night, I wake up with the feeling that someone is walking past my bedroom door. Slow, patient, back and forth. And I keep thinking about that sentence carved into the tree. You weren't here yet, because I don't think it was meant for us.